All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. If you're brand new and you haven't been on an onboarding yet, the next one is today at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you're getting on that. You're welcome to be in this call as well. But make sure you get on onboarding if you are new. All right. Let me just get this show on the road here. Lots of crazy stuff happened overnight with crypto, Bitcoin dropping quite a bit. All right, here we go. All right, so here is the concern. This overall upward trending support line was broken. This one goes back quite a bit, all the way to back here at 74.5. This was the big, let me just go to a higher time frame and show you. This was the big breakout here from when we came. We hit all-time high up here at 108, and then we double topped at 109 right here, dipped down, come back up, and then we dropped all the way to 74.5. That 74.5 was retesting the previous 73.8 right here, the previous resistance. And we bounced, and then we broke out of this downward trending falling wedge right here. Downward trending falling wedge. We broke out, retested, and then we climbed all the way back up, and we hit a new all-time high right here at 112. We barely got over the 109 right there. This was the previous high. We made a new high at 112, and then we went into a consolidation bullish flag pattern right here where we downward trended for a little bit. And you can see right here, this wick right here, before breaking out of that, wicked down to right here, which was the 98.3 zone, which was previous resistance right here. Boom, boom, break out, retouch, break out, climb up. We create a new bull flag. We hit an all-time high right here at 123. We break a new bull flag. And before breaking out, we wick all the way down to right here at 112. And we actually wicked through it a little bit to 111.7 or something like that. And then we broke out. We made a new all-time high here at 124.5. And very similarly to all these other times when we hit an all-time high and we come back up, hit an all-time high and we come back up, we usually have a big drop first. And that seems to be what's going on right here. And this is the most concerning part of this, guys, is that we broke out. I'm on the daily right now. If I go, we actually broke out and then retested on the top of this bull flag and the upward trending support and bounced, but couldn't get a higher high and then fell through it. So if we come down, let's go to the 4 hour. That's the daily time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour. We're looking at the 4 hour. We fell through and it is trying to retest. But is it going to come all the way back up and retest? Or is it right now hitting? Right now it's hitting support, support and resistance, support, 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 and support. Back here. Let me get rid of some of these lines and show you. All this is here. So normally when I do these calls, I like to just give a recap of where we've been in the last short while and also make sense of the repeating patterns that have happened over the last couple times we spiked up to a new high. And on this one, not only do we have a big M pattern, generally speaking, M's break to the downside, which it did. Now, how far is it? How far is this M? Where does this M start? It's probably right here, right here. And so what could that mean? I mean, that could mean a drop down to the 112 again. From the breakout, where would that bring us? That would bring us down to like 110. But here's the 112. I would think that that would be the next support level. Let's just get rid of that for now. If we cannot get back above that line, guys, that was an upward trend line going all the way back to April. And yeah, that could be a little bit of a drop. Now there's two places that could go. We have the 112, which is the next support level. And that was the new all-time high here. We also have the 108.5 level somewhere in here. So I'm going to make this a range because I know that we had 109 here, but remember when we came up and hit 109, it was a double top. It did not hold above 108. And when I look at the RSI on the weekly, 108, watch this. It was the 108 here. Whoops, I'm not looking at the right thing. It was the 108 here that was the peak. Not the 109, the 108, and then it came up and hit 109, but look at 109 down here on the RSI. It was much lower. This is the peak here. This is the major resistance. And the fact that 109 wicked above it, but didn't hold above it means that that's the high, that's the level right there. So I'm going to draw the line right at the 108. And that 108 not only goes through the 109, but it also goes through the 112. And as you can see, even when we hit 112, we never held above 108 until here. So that might be where we're coming down to retest. That would be the level. So if I were to guess, my prediction would be between 108 and 112. And before we get a big bounce. That's the RSI. Now let's look at, this is the weekly. Let's look at what's going on here on the RSI. We do have bearish divergence, just like we did back here in 2021, which is where the price gets higher, but the RSI gets lower. From the top here, this was 48, 40, or 39, 40K right here. And then we went all the way up to 68.7 in 2021. But as you can see down here, we had a peak at 41 or 40K. And then the next high, which was 68K, we had a much lower high here on the RSI before the bear market. Very similarly here, we have an all-time high, and that was at 108. And then we come all the way down to here and come all the way back up to 112. And 112 was a new high, but it was a lower high here on the RSI. And then we came down and went all the way up to 123, which was a much bigger high than 112. And as you can see on the RSI, we didn't even break above this line. We didn't even break above the 70 on the RSI, and thus another lower high. And then we even popped up again. From 123, we came down and went back up to 124.5. And as you can see right here, barely didn't even get back up to that line. That's bearish divergence over here as well. So how long can that go on for? I don't know. We could go shoot up to 150. And if this price still stays below this line, that's just a continuation of bearish divergence. So those are the unknowns. But one thing I do notice, and I do know, and it's irresputable, is we broke this upward trending support. And so let me get rid of the RSI and then go look at the stochastic RSI for a minute. This is the stochastic RSI on the weekly, and as you can see, both lines, the orange line and the blue line, fell below the 80 on the RSI, and they're both dropping. Now, right here is the first time we have a little crook in the blue line going sideways. So where was that? That happened right here. After this big wick down, we pumped all the way up to 124. That's this. That little blue crook is 124. But look what happened. We went all the way up to 124 and then dropped all the way back down, to 117. And then the next candle just opened and that one kept coming down. So, you know, we got a little time left. Oh, let's go look at this on the other on trading view. Weekly. So on the weekly stochastic RSI, we have 6 days and 8 hours left because it's just Monday right now. But as you can see, we did break the 80, which is this dotted line right here, with a nice M pattern and a lower high. It's all bearish. We also have on the stochastic, on the MACD, we have money flowing out, and we have a blue line getting ready to cross the orange line to the downside. This little crick right here, this little blue line that looks like it was almost changing its mind to go back up, that was only when we pumped up to 124 and came back down. So I have a feeling that's going to straighten back out to the downside, and it will probably look like something like, I'm trying to find an example. Doesn't happen often. This, when we have a little crick to the side like that, and then continue falling. Oh, one more thing. When you look at, when I go back to the daily, let's go to the daily and see what it looks like here. Something else. Shit, I can't even show you on that. It's it's this line right here, guys. Let me just put this here and bring this over and touch these highs. Is it this one? I think it's a longer running one going all the way back. Let me just change the color of this. So if we take a resistance line going back to 2021, and we hit the top here, when we hit 108, 109, 112, we touched the tops of all of these. This is where we finally got above it for the first time. And we created this bull flag. We wicked below it here just to retest 112, and then we came back above it, the blue line, and then we popped all the way up to 124, and then we come back down, and now we were below it. I don't know if I have this in the exact right spot, but we did get back below it. If I go back to a lower time frame, you can clearly see it is the blue line, and now it's coming back up to retest. And it's possible that we got back above it, but was it retesting the blue line, or is it just retesting this support and resistance line at the 116 level? I don't know if I even have that in the exact right spot. There we go. We definitely waked up to retest that. Now, so if it doesn't hold above this blue line and that line, guys, I have a feeling we could see some further dumpage down to the 108 to 112 range. And not only for Bitcoin, but probably for a multitude of other cryptos. Let's look at Ethereum, because they're all going to be correlating probably right now. They all look very similar on the charts. Ethereum, We were in an upward trending channel. We broke above it. We came down and retested it as support. We broke through it, hit it as resistance, resistance again, and then dropped. What did we drop to? We dropped right to this the support line right here, bounced, broke through it, resistance, resistance, broke back above it. So maybe we're getting back above it. That'd be nice. That'd be good. Let's take a support line from the bottom here and run that up. Well, with Ethereum, seems to be holding the upward trending support line. And then, and also a back above the overall resistance. We got above it here. We broke below it a little bit here, but now we're back above it. Let's look at XRP. XRP, I know my drawings are all over the place. Give me 1 second here just to get rid of these blue lines. We were in a big bullish flag on XRP. This was major support right here. I mean, resistance, support, 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 support and resistance, support. Looks like it's right there. And looks like that's what we just broke below it, and looks like we're retesting it right now. It could come all the way down to this zone again as well. So I think if XRP continues to drop, we could get sub $3 one more time, which is just this zone. Look at it like I have it as a bull flag here, but look at it as a giant, possibly even a sideways channel. I'll show you what I mean from here. So we have here. I would say there and there. Let me just change its color. These two areas where we came above right here, held the support, wicked above, held the support, came back below, resistance, resistance, resistance on the blue line, support and support on this blue line down here. And it's possible that we could just come back down into this area first before bouncing out. And if that happens on Bitcoin, what I was just talking about, that's probably what's going to happen on XRP. And Ethereum would do something similar. Ethereum would look like, Ethereum might not do anything, but Ethereum could, in theory, just come back down and bounce on that yellow line a couple more times before finally pulling out. It does look like it's held nice support here and it's curving back up, but we could see some sideways action here. Just touch that line one more time before it goes up, and that gives Bitcoin and XRP time to come down a little bit. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen on XRP and Ethereum, but I mean XRP and Bitcoin, but that's what it looks like still has yet to happen. We do see this curve up right here on Bitcoin. Could be continuation of this overall bullish flag here, but this is my USDT chart. Let me go to my Bitcoin margin chart because it looks a little different. On this one, it looks like we just are, I thought we went through it. So hold on 1 second here. Let me see if I got this line right. It looked like we went through it unless nothing's lining up at the moment. Hold on 1 second. Interesting. Maybe we didn't go through it yet. Maybe it's still bouncing on it. Why does it look so different on USDT? Interesting.
Well, you always said there was a difference between the two, right?
It is, but it shouldn't be that drastic. There definitely is. I mean, it's almost as if this isn't even showing on my other chart. Let me just go back because it looks like it's just showing this still without this drop. It's like something's not updated here. So let me refresh and see if something changes here. I don't know what's going on with this chart. That's probably what it was. Yeah. That scared me for a second. This is all it was showing up here. It didn't show the big drop. So on Bitcoin margin, it dropped below that line as well, which is this line right here. I'm just going to make it yellow too, just so it stands out. It's this overall upward trending support line. We did fall below it, and not just below that, but below this support. Now this is the overall bull flag right here that we were in, and it's possible that we're just bouncing on the top of that right now. Right here. Yeah, that looks pretty. This looks like resistance, resistance, breakout, support, resistance. None of these times did it hold over. That's probably about as accurate as it's going to get on that one. I'm going to change this to different color just so we can see it. So we have, I mean, this upward trending yellow line, we just fell right through it here. And it's possible that that is the sign that this run up is done in the short term. Because we've had one higher high after another. Starting back here when we were at 108, 109, right here, 108, 109. We had a big drop down. We come all the way back at 112, so that we went up a little higher, $3,000. Had a big drawdown all the way to 98K, came all the way back up and broke the 112 and went right up to 118, then 123. Then we had a nice big drawdown again, came all the way back down to 111, 112. Broke out again and just went a little bit higher than 123 to 124.5. Not enough buying pressure to keep it going. Came back down to retest, and not only did it retest on the bull flag that it broke out of, but also broke below the upper trending support. So getting back above that is what we would need to see for me to be in any long position. Not ready for that yet. If it bounces here, guys, underneath this and starts to drop, then I will probably be giving a short. But it will be a scalp and it will be short term, and you got to know what you're doing. You got to be careful because it could turn at any time. It could bounce here at 112 or it could come all the way down here to 108. So you just got to be ready to pull out of that one if you're going to take it. Otherwise, the best thing would be to wait for the bounce somewhere here. Bounce, strong bounce, meaning it's pulling out fast. Because when it's the bottom, you know it's the bottom. When it's not the bottom, you know it's not the bottom when the price isn't bouncing. In other words, if it comes down, if you think 112 is the bottom and it comes down to 112 and it stops there, but it just kind of hovers right around here and just waffles around a little bit, maybe goes up a little bit, comes down, goes up. That's not the bottom. Because the bottom, you usually get a nice bounce out and it starts to climb out pretty quickly. This was the bottom. We come down, boom, and we climb out very quickly. And usually you know that when it is the bottom. Coming down to this line, boom. Not the bottom. Didn't climb out quickly, didn't make a higher high. Hit it again, kind of waffling around here. This isn't the bottom. And then boom, bottom, climb out very fast. So that leads me to think that where we're at right now is not the bottom because we're not flying out of it right now. Could be. I mean, we could get some buying pressure. It is Monday, we could get some buying pressure coming in here, but doesn't really look like it's trying that hard to do anything after this big fall. It is magically bouncing right on this purple line, which is the top of the previous bull flag that it fell out of. Once it broke out, it held a support here, climbed up. But if I were to, I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, Nico, where's it going? I would take this as the bottom of the M, also possibly a head and shoulders pattern. Right there. And I'm trying to be conservative. So I would just say somewhere in the 108 range. That's the top of the other bull flag here. I don't know. Time will tell, but I will tell you this, we will know today because it is a new week, but we've seen a lot of dumping going, a lot of pumps going in the weekend and a lot of dumping going into the week afterwards lately. And this is not strong right here. Look at that. I mean, we just pumped up to retest that line and we got a nice red wick up to it right now. And I think we would have popped above that, and already been out of it by now if this was the real bottom. I mean, it could still be the bottom, but right now it doesn't look like it. Jake, we have a double top on the weekly that printed. Last two times that happened, we went down on average 30%. So we're probably looking to take bearish trades for a bit. Good observation, Jake. Good morning, everyone. Can you explain they are different but look the same in candlesticks? What are you referring to, Victoria? Are you talking about
The Bitcoin SD and the two charts that you were going back and forth
oh
to.
yeah. So USDT margin and Bitcoin margin do vary slightly because of the spread, because of the slippage. There's some other reasons. I don't know if somebody else can explain. Bill might have a better explanation than that.
Less volume. It's, coin margin has less volume on it, so it tends to be easier for the whales to push around. You'll see when I run the Fibonacci, I see that sometimes the lows are lower and the highs are a touch higher.
Yeah. At first glance, it's hardly noticeable until you really start to set lines and look at exact drop. Some people are like, "Oh, Bitcoin hit 118," and I look at my chart and I'm like, "No, it didn't hit like 117.8." But what they're looking at is on their chart, it might have hit 118, but like on Coinbase might say it hit 118.5. And then on some other platform, Binance, it might say it hit 117.9. So they're congregating all of their data from multiple different platforms to get a price average. And but on a coin margin, it is different, I guess, because of trading volume alone, as far as what the price looks like. But I trade on both. I generally don't worry too much about these little minor differences because the average percent gain on a winning trade is much higher. It's like I could be much more detail oriented and much more anal about the exact precise numbers. And there probably are some traders out there that are, especially you engineer types out there that like to know exact reason for everything. I don't necessarily need to know. I don't know everything. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know everything about how some of the trading platforms work. I traded the stock market and I had an E-Trade account, a Thinkorswim, what is it? Thinkorswim, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Thinkorswim.
Thinkorswim platform, and I was trading on M5 on Forex for years without even knowing how these platforms worked, and made a shit ton of money. So it's like, it's kind of like in the marketing business and websites. and landing pages and links and all this stuff. I usually have someone else do all that stuff. I like to understand what it is, but if I had to put it together myself, I would need to hire somebody to figure it all out because I'm not that technical person. My mother, she calls me and asks me what the price of gas is. I have no idea. Like she's concerned that if she could just, there's a gas station like 4 miles away or 6 miles away that is selling gas for $2.39 a gallon, but the one right by her house is $2.89. Okay, that's a 50% per gallon difference. That's a big difference. But if it's 10 cents per gallon difference, is it worth driving 6 miles round trip or 8 miles round trip to save 10 cents a gallon or 20 cents a gallon? For someone with nothing better to do, or someone who's really anal about savings and numbers, it might seem worth it, but to me, it's not. I don't worry myself with those kinds of things because I would rather pay more for convenience. I would rather pay more for less wear and tear in my car. I don't want to drive 8 miles round trip to save 10 cents a gallon because what is that really saving me? My time is more valuable. So I look at things totally different than a lot of other people. I will pay you $1 more per gallon if you bring the gas to my house and fill my car up in my garage. So I don't have to go anywhere. So that's just the way I look at things. So to me, it's a matter of convenience. And so a lot of times trading, and what does that got to do with these differences? To me, that's the reason why I don't sweat it. I know that there is a difference. I just don't take the time to really understand it because it's so minute that it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things to me. Because if I make $80 profit, let's just say, if I take two of the exact same trades, one on a Bitcoin margin, one on a USDT margin, and I make $80 profit on one and $76 profit on the other, for whatever reason, because of these minor differences, I don't really care. I'm not really getting out my calculator to figure out why. That's just me. But if you really want to know the differences, there is a reason. And some people do need to know why. And I don't blame you if you do want to know why, but there are other people that can explain it. And then also, guys, just so you know, if you go into, I'm on Phemex right now. If you go up here to the upper right corner to where the question mark is and hit the help center, there are so many tutorials and videos in Phemex, way beyond what we provide in Crypto Renegades that really dive deep into the platform itself. Trading functions, contract futures trading overview. I mean, go click on any one of these. Order type, for instance, I'll just click on it and it takes you to a whole nother page with just a rabbit hole of information and explanations and video tutorials and explaining how all this stuff works. You can get lost in learning about this platform for days, I'm sure. And so in addition to the training that we provide on Crypto Renegades, by the way, if you go into Crypto Renegades and you just go into the help desk and just come up here to the pinned messages, it's just one tutorial. Bill has put together a library that is so deep. This may only look like 20 links, but if I click on candlestick patterns and charts and cheat sheets, it's ongoing links on all, just a glossary of terms and, live call, onboard, every little thing from candlesticks to patterns to, just nonstop Elliott waves, what it all means. And you come back up here. So we have so much training, Wyckoff theory, cheat sheet. But same thing in Phemex. When you go in Phemex and you go into their tutorials, it takes you to just a rabbit hole of education, guys. So don't hesitate to go in there and learn in between calls or in between webinars or in between Zoom calls and in between trades, because the more you learn, the better. It's
Their
kind of
YouTube channel is really good.
Oh yeah, their YouTube. Yeah, they got tons of tools. Not only that, but as a member of Crypto Renegades, the fact that you used some of you used our referral link, and that's kind of new. Some of you have been in here for a long time, but with our referral link to Phemex, you also would be getting you should be getting their emails on updates and tips and tricks and training tutorials and things like that. And so they have a whole training suite just for Crypto Renegades members as well. And that you should be coming out to you by an email directly from Phemex. If you're not getting that, let me know, because that's supposed to be part of what they're helping our team members with. But you don't even need that. You can just go in here to the tutorial section here and there's so much information. You want to click and you just click on it, it takes you to a whole nother detailed explanation with screenshots showing you what they're explaining about. And in some of them, there are video tutorials. So it's very slow right now. It did break to the downside and it's coming up retest. I didn't give a short signal because I was waiting to see how far it's going to drop and if it's going to come back up and retest or if it's going to get back above that line. And right now, because the buying pressure is so low and we're just stuck down at 115, I mean, we're almost $10,000 down from our high, which is, let's see what percentage is that. We were at 124.5 and we dropped all the way down. That's an 8% drop. And that is actually a very small drop compared to the last couple of times we made all-time highs and dropped. This one was 9%. That was very similar. Oops. This one here was, we hit 112, we dropped all the way down to 98K. That was a 12% drop here before breaking out. This one was the bigger one here. When we hit 108 and then 109, we dropped all the way down to 74.5, which was a 31% drop before bouncing out of there. And that took from January 19th all the way to April 25th before, or April 16th rather, before we broke out. So 3 months going down before we broke out of that. So could that happen again? Yes, of course. Now, wouldn't you be surprised? Because we have had nothing but upswing after upswing after upswing, new high after new high after new high with consolidation, but never breaking this upward trending support. So we might be due for that. And it's healthy. It's healthy market cycle, market structure when that happens. It's actually unhealthy for it to not happen. When it doesn't happen and you just keep having big swings to the upside, then that is like nervous. That's nerving to me because that means something big is about to happen. Probably the opposite direction that everybody thinks. So if we don't have regular market structure and retesting and consolidation, then we're not building a solid foundation to continue to climb up higher with. If we just keep going up, 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 then there's going to be a big swing back down, big pullback. And yeah, I mean, we came right down. We probably held right here. We held on this line for a minute. We dropped below it. And we went below this support level and this blue line, which is the overall resistance line going all the way back to 2021, and this upward trending support line. That's 3 major supports that we just broke through. And we're retesting, and then we bounced on this resistance. And now we're just coming to retest this overall upward trending resistance, the blue line, going all the way back to 2021. And this red line, which is the most recent support and resistance, just going back to, you know, July 10th when we broke above this level. We broke below it here, we hit it here, we got above it here, held the support here, climbed up, and then came back, broke through it, and now we're retesting it underneath. Usually bearish. Let me get rid of that. So with that being said, I would be anticipating a possible rejection, lower low, possibly coming back down into this realm right here to the 112, which would be, we're double bottoming here, but also somewhere into this range. Not that we're going to get back into this channel and this bull flag doesn't matter, but anymore, but because this is where we broke out. But it does correlate when you bring those lines forward. You do see that they still hold some type of support resistance, as you can see here. And you'll see, it'll be weird because you'll see this come down and hit this 112, and you might even see a wick through, boom, and then bounce. And you're like, why did that just wick down halfway between this red line and this red line, which is the 108 and the 112, and then you just bring a line forward like this, and you'll see, interesting. That's the old support on this bull flag here. They all just seem to matter. They all just seem to correlate sometimes. And then when you see that, you put a line there and you say, well, what else? And then you just bring it over to the left and you see, okay, that was resistance, resistance, and resistance in this bull flag. Even though this was the high, we couldn't get higher than this several times before breaking out and holding a support. We popped up and hit the 112, and we came back and held this as support after resistance, 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 and that is where it comes down to here. Very interesting. That's also exactly where this bottom of this bull flag converge. So you will see shit like that happen so too many times for it to be a coincidence. That's why I don't look at it as a coincidence anymore. I just think all of these fractals matter, and that's how you can get so precise. That's why when you look in the chat and you look at my updates for the last 24 hours in the signal channel, I was saying right here, BTC finally coming to the upward trending support. That's this yellow line, finally coming to it. Looking like it's dipping below, but can bounce and pump back up tomorrow. If it falls below this line and holds as resistance, we can see further dumping this week. We'll keep an eye on it and update. Make sure to tune in tomorrow's call. Last image is zoomed in on the 10-minute chart. That was this one. And you can see it clearly broke below it, and it looked like it was coming to retest, but it didn't yet. And trying to retest. Will it come back above it or bounce and go down below? If it drops, the first support will be at around 115.8. Big dump happening on BTC. Better to wait for the bounce. As it's a falling knife at the moment, support should be around 15.5 to 15.8. Here's why I said that. And here is 15.5 right here. 15.5 to 15.8. Because we have support, resistance, support, and we also have this blue line converging. And then if you take this down, I really should have taken it all the way down to the bottom of these, but I just took it to these wicks up here, because when it did finally fall through this support, we came back up and held as resistance here, and resistance here and here, and support here when we wicked down. So this is a zone, and it did kind of, it did go through that zone, but then it did wake up and hit it as resistance, and then it popped back up through it. So there's something going on here. I wasn't exactly precise because it didn't bounce on 15.5 to 15.8. It kind of went through it all the way down to 114.8 and then came back up. But now it's having some issue right here at this level. It could pop right back up above this this red line at 116.3, but if it doesn't, it's still got to contend with this line, this yellow line. So this was the major support and support line that it broke through, which is this yellow line. And that goes back quite a ways, and we fell through it clean. Look at that drop. And so it could come right back up to retest that. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for, because if it breaks back above that, then we're back in the clear. But if it hits that as resistance and starts to fall, then we're just going to see possibly some lower lows. There's no way around it, really. If I were to guess where it's going to happen. We have a little bit of some type of weird channel here. I would say that it would probably happen right at the crux of that. Boom. if it does come up that high. Otherwise, it's not getting through the bottom of this one. And then that would look like this, where it just bounces here and it just comes back down. By the way, guys, this is a totally different type of trading on these lower time frames than like what you'll see Chad talk about. Chad's more, longer, bigger viewpoint from a higher time frame. Let's go to the weekly and look at this. It's more like, okay, he might be saying, well, it looks like we might be breaking this line right here. We need one more candle. This candle needs to close below this line, and we need one more candle, and then we're shorting. And that's, I do the same thing. I look at this, but then I go down to the very local levels, down to the local time frame, so you can really see it on a granular level. But same thing holds true. It's important on the higher time frame that happens. Ronaldo asks, could we still hit phase 4 on this bull market at 1.6 on the Fibonacci, hitting 178K by the end of the year? We haven't had a bull market not hit phase 4. Phase 4 in history, correct, as you said. So chances are higher that we climb up there rather than go down 30%. Ronaldo, great question. And the answer is yes, we certainly can still hit 170 on the top of phase 4, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen first before we have a 30% consolidation or pullback. We could go down to 160, 170, and then bounce all the way back up to 178. Or we can hit 178 first and then come back down to down to 80 in the bear market. But so I think yes, the answer to that. And let me just show you guys what he's talking about if you're not exactly familiar with it, because we've talked about this a bunch. So this blue line right here, if we start from the bottom, like this is 2021, we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. In bull markets down here, we had phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and same thing previous bull markets. Every bull market cycle, we've gotten to phase 5, the top of phase 5, which is the 2.36 on the Fibonacci. And in order to get to phase 5, we have to get to phase 4. Phase 4, the top of phase 4 is 1.6. So here we got to 1.6, and then we went through to 2.3. Here we got to 1.6, and we went through to 2.3. The only time we did not get to phase 5 or the 2.3 is in 2021, but we did hit the 1.6. We hit the 1.6 at 64,000, and we double topped here at 68, and then we went into a bear market. And here in 2025, we got phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and we are in phase 4 right now. And we're still in the middle of phase 4, and we're way up here somewhere, like right up here at 120,000. And we're halfway through. So if we get up to the top of phase 4, that would be the 1.6 in the fib. That would be $176,000 for Bitcoin. If we break through that and we get into phase 5, the 2.36 would be 541,000 for Bitcoin. But we're having a hard time getting higher than where we're at right now. And it's possible that we come down to this line right here. This line right here is 70K. This white line. We have to stay above 70K. That's the magic number. So technically speaking, we could actually come even down that far and still go back up to all-time highs. And if we did, I'm not saying we're going to, I'm just saying that 70K, if we break below 70K to the downside, that's bear market territory. The bull market's over, I would say. But let's just go from the top. Let's go from 124.5. If we did come back down all the way down to 70K, that would only be a 43% drop to the downside. Only. I say that, I know that sounds like a lot, but let's just go to the weekly time frame. What did I say? 43%?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, 43%. Let me just show you how many times that's happened. Look at this one, 55%. And then we came all the way back up. 34%. And then we came all the way back up. This one was when we hit 108, 109. We dropped all the way down to 74K. That was 31%. Came all the way back up. Some of these don't look big, but they are. If I scroll in, you'll see even here to here on the way up in this bull market. 22%. 20%. I mean, over and over and over again, big pullbacks, big drops, 20%. So even just 20% would bring us 20% would bring us right to 98K, 21%. And I already have a line right there. My concern is that, and it may not be a valid, it may not necessarily matter, but if we broke this upward trending support line, but let's take an upward trending support line all the way from the bottom and touch all of these. So we have support, 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 and every time support, high, new high, support, new high, support, new high, new high. So we're actually kind of far away from this one. So if we did come down and touch this upward trending support coming all the way back from the bear market bottom, back here, back in 2023, when we were at 20K, right after we climbed out, this was the bottom of the bear market and the beginning of the bull market right here, 15.5. But this upward trending support goes all the way back to 2023, and we are kind of far away from it at the moment. But if we did have a giant pullback down to 97K, we could hit that and still stay in line, stay inside of this overall upward trending wedge. But this yellow line is the most recent upward trending support, and we already broke that. So it is possible that now is the time that we have this big pullback before we have a new run up. Yeah, I mean, certainly could be. And then when we look at all of the indicators, they're all kind of bearish, guys. We have bearish happening right here on the stochastic RSI with the blue line and the orange line both dropping below the 80 and heading down on the weekly. We also have on the regular RSI, we have bearish divergence. There's all kinds of other things that are showing that, but they've been showing that for a while. That's the problem with bearish divergence. On the regular RSI, it's been showing bearish divergence for 8 months now, and we keep making higher highs. So does it really mean anything? I don't know. It did back in 2021 when we had it here, because here when we had it and we dropped below this on the weekly, you see this right here, whenever the blue line crosses the orange line to the downside, after making a new high, it went into a bear market. And that's kind of with this pattern right here. Looks eerily similar to this one. But just because it's done it before doesn't mean it has to do it again in the same time frame. Also, this time is different. Remember, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of things different this time. Guys, for all I know, I do know a lot about a lot of things, but I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced that the developers and the founders of XRP are not the same people that developed Bitcoin. It could very well be that they put Bitcoin together first and then they improved it with XRP. If that comes to pass, if that little bit of information turns out to be true, and there's a lot of reasons why I can say that, but if that actually turns out to be true, we could see a little bit of an exodus from Bitcoin into XRP, but they're both being used for different things. So XRP would be more in the financial realm and ledger, and Bitcoin would be more of a hedge, an asset that you hold, a commodity that you hold as a hedge against inflation, a store of wealth, whereas XRP is more utilitarian. Jake, I hear you, man. I hear you. Jake says, so we're not, I don't know if I answered your question, but Jake says we probably have a higher probability of seeing 87K Bitcoin because the double tops on the weekly time frames. I'm bearish. Yeah, I mean, guys, I know that some of you have been in here long enough to hear me get bearish a couple times over the past year, thinking that the top was in only because of all of these other historical indicators. But I'm also very hesitant to say that because I've been proven wrong right here. I was proven wrong because I thought we were coming down here. I thought that this might be it. And then, but we bounced. We didn't even make it to 73.8. We hit 74.5 and bounced out and then made a new high. And then once we bounced out of here and made a new high, I was like, okay, well, maybe this time is different. I'm always the one over the past 4 bull markets to say this time is not different. I don't care what's different. I don't care what people think are different. It's not different. These are 4-year cycles, bull market, bear market cycles. It's going to keep happening. But this time is different to a big degree because of all of the mass adoption happening with crypto and the powers that be that happen to be behind the 2 majors out there, which is now XRP and Bitcoin. Ethereum is still big, but even the founder of Ethereum has been promoting XRP. Even the founder of Ethereum is propping up XRP as far superior. I mean, I don't know if you've heard him talk lately, but the founder of Ethereum speaks higher of XRP than he does Ethereum lately. With that being said, I'm cautious. But my job here is not to give predictions, but I mean, I can give you my opinion, but it's always if this, then that. If this, then that. If this happens, then that's going to happen. And if that happens, then this is going to happen. And so I know that to some of you, it might seem like I'm just covering my ass, but the truth is that this has to happen in order for this to happen. Doesn't matter how I'm saying it. I'm not going to go short unless this happens. I'm not going to go long unless this happens. That's the way it is. And if we can't get back above this yellow line right here, and it bounces below this or it stays below this for whatever reason, I will be short and I will put a short signal. You do not have to be bearish with me. You do not have to go short with me. You can watch and see what happens and then wish later that you pay attention, or maybe not. Maybe some of you, because back here, guys, you might remember, some of you have been around long enough, might remember, I was short here too. I was short this whole drop all the way down. And even here, when we double bottomed on 74.5 and came back up right here, I went short again right here. The reason why is because my whole philosophy then was short the tops. Don't long the bottoms, short the top. So every time it hit the top, short. Came down, hit the top, short. Came down, hit the top, short. Came down, hit the top, short. Hit the top, short. Hit the top, short. But this was wrong. I should have not shorted this one. And I went negative up to about here, thinking that, okay, it needs to still hold above a certain level. And it did get above this level, and then it bounced on top. That's when I got out. And I took a loss on this last short that I did. But on the way down, I was probably averaging about 10 grand a day every time I shorted. So made a lot of money on the way down there, but I was still thinking that we had a ways to go here, that this was not the bottom. Chad, on the other hand, was given long signals right in here in the 70, actually lower than that, like 75 range, 75 to 78 range. He was given long signals. So he was right. And then we bounced out of there. This double bottom on 74.5 was the bottom, but I just thought that it wasn't. I thought we needed to go down to 68 to 73 zone, which was the previous all-time high. It just didn't need to do it. So it broke out. But generally speaking, guys, whenever we break a major upward trending support, like if we would have actually broke below that and held as resistance, oh, I would have stayed short and just kept shorting, and that would have been the smart and right thing to do. But up here, so I was taking bigger risks shorting the top of this because we were coming into what I felt was the apex. We were coming in to the bottom here. So I thought we just had a little ways to go, possibly a little bit more. We come back down and wick down into this and then finally break out here. But it didn't. It broke out up here. So that's okay. Right, wrong. Now I did have a big loss on the wrong here. Whoops. But it was nowhere near what I made on the way down. So it's all good. But now, talking about where we're at now, if we can't get back above this yellow line and we retest here, I am going to short, but it is going to be hopefully a short-term short. In other words, a short scalp. And it won't be, I mean, it'll come down and bounce on 112 probably. I would say 112. But if I'm being really precise and if I really did want to cover my ass, I would say that the price range is between 112 and 108. 108.5. And somewhere in the middle would be 110. That would probably be more accurate. And at this point, guys, I'm just trading on intuition. And I've learned a while ago not to second guess it, because when I do trade on what I feel is going to happen, I'm right more than I'm wrong. And sometimes I am wrong, not going to lie, but no one's going to ever be right all the time. No, I'm not short right now. I don't know who asked the question. It just says iPhone on the Zoom chat. So maybe if you're going to be getting on these Zooms, change your Zoom name so I know who you are, so I can address you correctly. Otherwise, just let me know who you are. But I'm just going to call you iPhone for now. Jeff and Robin answered the question, but right now I'm not short. I mean, if I wasn't trading, if I wasn't trying to give an example to you guys and didn't have an audience, I might be short. I might have been short just on this breakout of this yellow line, but I do realize it can come back up and retest first. But it's having a hard time getting above this blue line right here, which is just the bottom of the most recent downward trending support. It broke through it and retested it right there. And it wicked up to this red line here, which was previous support and resistance going all the way back to July 10th. So the fact that it's having a hard time getting above that is interesting. Also, this whole little cluster right here is happening also with this blue line. And that blue line right there is, I think I need to make that a different color just so you can really see it. That blue line right there is this one, this yellow line, I just changed it, is the overall upward trending resistance going all the way back to 2021. So interestingly enough, we are having a hard time getting back above that. We just fell below it. We were above it, And we went above it all the way to 124.5, and then we just fell back below it. So we're slightly below it a little bit, which can be bearish. If we don't stay above that, then what is this little thing that just happened? We had a top and double top on 123, 124.5. It seems eerily similar to 108, 109, eerily similar to 65.4 to 68. And then if you add that, and then if you add the formations on the lower time frames, we have a little bit of an M. We also have what could be considered a head and shoulder pattern here, with this as the bottom, causing this to be the possible level that we might come down to, which brings us right to this downward trending support in the previous channel, and this blue line, which is the center line, right between the center line resistance line, right between the 108 to 112 zone that I was just talking about. It all lines up to me. Anything anybody else want to look at or have me explain? We're only going to go to 1:30 today because Chad and I have an important call we got to get on. But luckily there's not a whole lot happening. The big move happened. Obviously, this happened and then this happened already. So now we're kind of just in consolidation mode before it either breaks back up to the upside or continues falling. But I will give those signals when I see them happening.
So, Nico, would a good indicator be on the 1 hour chart while we're on BTC when the blue line comes down over the orange on the 1 hour and hits the 80 percentile? Yeah, just to the right of that.
On the stochastic RSI,
Yeah.
I generally, it is an indicator, and it can tell you something, but I would look at the price when that's happening. If that's happening, I generally don't look at the stochastic RSI on any time frame other than the weekly. So when you go to the weekly, the problem with the weekly is it's definitely more accurate. It is already kind of below the 80, and they're both facing down. And this little tiny twitch that the blue line had right here was on the pump up to 124, but it already fell from 124, $10,000 back down. This just hasn't changed yet because it's the weekly time frame. But I would say that during this week and at the end of this week, this blue line will start facing down again, most likely. So weekly time frame stochastic RSI is the most accurate. But yeah, you can look at the hourly, and you can, if it does drop below that blue, I mean, right now you can see that the blue line is starting to turn down. And if it crosses the orange line to the downside, that does mean something. Not only that, but look where it crossed down. Just put your mouse up right there, and we are right at the 100. See over here, 100 on the RSI. Take this green. I have this green line here. Let me just take that green line and put it right there. That's pretty much the top. Boom, 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 boom. Doesn't get any higher. And we're hitting it basically. I mean, we actually didn't. It could get a little higher from where it's at. I think it turned right at 98. Could it pop up a little higher first? Yeah, like this. Like well, I don't even see any examples where it did. But we're pretty much at the top of the RSI. And the blue line is starting to come down. This is the hourly. So if it crosses the orange line to the downside and comes back down, here you can see what happens. It's usually a downward trend on the price.
Nico, can we take a look at Ethereum?
Ethereum, the hourly stochastic RSI is about to cross the orange line to the downside on Ethereum. We do have a nice little bull flag forming. Bear flag forming on Ethereum. Let me just show you that. This is interesting. We do have like on the weekly RSI, something strange happening there, but let's go back down to the hourly. So on the hourly, on Ethereum, we have downward trending. Just get rid of this channel here. And we came down to this. We did have a upward trending resistance line going all the way back here to July. Boom, boom. We hit it. We went through it here and held as support on this white line. We pumped all the way up, came all the way back down to it, went through it here, hit it, support, support, went through it, resistance, 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 went through it, and support. Right now we're on top of it, but we're still in this downward trending channel. So I would say we need to break out of that. And what is this bottom line? This bottom line is the upward trending support, kind of like Bitcoin. And we did bounce on that. So it did not get below that yet. So for Ethereum, I would say that this is the apex we are winding into. So we have three things happening. We have downward trending channel. We have a ceiling resistance, high, lower, low, lower, low, lower, low. We have an upward trending support, and we have this overall upward trending resistance that we got above and we held as support. So right now we are winding into this apex, and this apex is where this top resistance downward trend line here is coming up against the floor here, and it creates this little corner right here, and something has to give. It's either going to break to the upside or the downside. But in addition to that, you also have this upward trending support. You have this overall upward trending, this white line, which is the upward trending resistance line that became support. We did pop below it here just to retest this support, and now we're back above that white line. So, and on top of that, we are teetering on this resistance line right here. Let me just make this thicker, and let me put it to where it needs to be. We might even be above that. Now we're below it. So we got resistance, 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 resistance. A couple times it wicked through, but it didn't hold above this purple line. So we're kind of wedged. We're in the overall apex here, but we're kind of wedged between this support and this resistance line. We got above it here, but we never held above it. We came right back below. It's trying to get above it right now, but we're also bouncing on this white line, and we already bounced on this upward trend line. So to me, we're in a tight little wedge here with Ethereum. Could be like this, or it could pop up and then come down, and stay in this channel. In other words, it could just be continuation all the way back down to this zone here. Until it finally breaks out. Or it's going to do it above this line, one or the other. That would be better if it held that upward trending support line, this yellow one right here. So for now, I'm going to just move this right to here since it didn't break that line yet. And that is the little box that we're in for Ethereum. I'm on the 1 hour time frame. Stochastic RSI looks like it's hitting the top right here at around 98, and it looks like it's curving to come down. So it's possible that this, and not only that, but this is a bear flag right here, guys. On top of it all, we got a bearish flag happening. If Bitcoin stays below its upward trending support, then Ethereum could follow. And then that would bring us down to this zone, just like it would bring Bitcoin down to its zone. Wouldn't even be surprised either way, because this was a major pump. I mean, look at this from down here, guys, from 3,300 all the way up to 47.93. Crazy. Crazy to get that kind of move to the upside without major consolidation. So coming down to retest this level right here seems normal to me. But we're already hitting this and what Chad, I believe, would call the boardroom. Just a box.
Talking about camera gentrification, like these old homes.
Say that again. Talking to us? Talking to me? Someone asked about the Gaussian channel. Let's go take a look. We are not near the Gaussian channel, but let me go to the 5-day where it's the most accurate. We're still above it. But if we come down to the 98K zone, we will be wicking into it. And that could be deadly. It's quicksand. Okay, Cheryl, onboarding is 2 o'clock, just so you guys know. 2 p.m. Eastern, so another 30 minutes, or 40 minutes or so. But make sure you guys get on it. I'm going to wrap this call up here, but yeah, we're quite a ways away from the Gaussian channel, but keep in mind the Gaussian channel is heading up while the price is coming down. So let's go look. I'm gonna also let me get rid of that, get rid of these, and pull up Market Cipher just for a quick look at that. Market Cipher B. I mean, we do got some green dots. I'm on the 5-day green dot. Bearish. Daily. Red. I'm sorry. What did I say? Green dot? Let me go back. Red dot. Green dot followed by a red dot. Let's go to the daily. Red dot. Bearish. Money flow going out. Weekly. Red dot. But that was a couple days ago. Possibly bearish. Hourly. Money flowed in from down here on the hourly. Let's go. Let's just zoom in and look. Right here, this green dot was a buy. And the price actually went down a little further to, even though this was a buy, if you would have went long on this green dot, you would have went a little negative, but then it did pump back up. And the money flow seems like it hit a brick wall right here. Interestingly enough, we are bouncing on, we did come above the overall downward trending resistance. We went below it and we came back above it right here. So we are kind of above it. We're also above this support, at least on this chart. But Whether we're gonna keep going up or not, that's a whole nother story, guys. Let me just look at some other things here. We got some downward trending resistance. Causing market cipher B. Let's go down to the 10-minute. On the 10-minute, we had a green dot and we do have money flowing in. So by the way, you would only use the 10-minute time frame or a lower time frame with market cipher for scalps. That's just short-term in and out trades. So if you went long on this green dot right here on the 10-minute, you can see the price did pump up from that. Since then, and that would have been a nice scalp. You would have went long right when that green dot appeared, and you would have probably closed out that trade right now, or at least when you start to see a red dot, not a red candle, but a red dot. What is the best way to buy XRP? Someone asked. Bill says Coinbase probably. Joseph says crypto.com. Kimberly says, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Examen. Never heard of it personally, so
Examine.
Like Xanadu.
I think it's related to Ripple, but I don't know the connection.
Yeah, and that could be the reason why the fees are lower on for XRP. But I personally, you can use if you already got money in Phemex, guys, like on USDT, you can just convert it right to XRP right inside Phemex for free. I don't think they do charge a fee for that. If you already have money in Coinbase, I think you can convert for free. Are they charging fees to convert on Coinbase? It's very low if it is. By the way, guys, just to let you know, I do got a couple new YouTube channels. I mean, a couple new YouTube videos, and there's a good one in the Discord, in our Discord group under official links. I know Bill posted my direct YouTube channel, but what I would prefer you do is if you're gonna like or comment, which I would greatly appreciate if you guys do help out with that, is just to go directly, just go to YouTube. Don't go to my channel, just go to YouTube in general. And once you get on YouTube, then go to search, go into the search category on YouTube.
Do you want me to post the link just to the search?
Yeah, that might be better because the reason why is because it's easier just to go right to my link and go right to my video and like it, but it doesn't help with the algorithm. So if you actually search my video or search my name on YouTube, it actually lets YouTube know that some people are searching for it. And then
I will update it.
Also, just so you guys know, there's 2 drafts getting ready to post on YouTube. One is an interview I did with the founder, I'm not the founder, with the CEO of Phemex. So I have an interview with him getting ready to go live, and I have another video. Should you trade stocks or crypto in 2020? They screwed up the title. Let me fix that. And so it's very helpful if you guys can go in there and like that stuff. I'm keeping track. Going to be sending out some freebies and stuff for those of you who are willing participants in the perpetualization of my YouTube. Basically, we're getting more people educated. Also, as far as the Phemex interview, I figured I would help them out, like promote Phemex a little bit, and they help us out. they're kind of they're taking care of our members there. You guys have any issues at all with Phemex, they are excellent to work with. Their customer support is second to none. I've had a lot of different platforms. I know there's a lot of people in this group that trade on different platforms as well. Maybe because you think the fees are lower on MEXC or whatever. That's fine. But just so you know, MEXC and Bybit and all these other platforms, they reach out to me wanting me to promote them too. I just prefer Phemex. I just trade on Phemex. Yeah, you mean my interview with Cheryl? You mean my interview with the Phemex founder? Yeah, it was
Yes, that's what I was asking.
yeah, it's a podcast style interview that I did with him. It's going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Here's the thumbnail for it. You'll be able to see when it gets posted. They made me look better for some reason and took out my wrinkles or something. I don't know.
AI, baby.
Actually, I think that's just a regular photo of me. And then there's another one, which is the crypto versus stocks video. That will be the thumbnail on that. If you guys could comment, like, share, all that kind of stuff, subscribe, do all that stuff, that would be greatly appreciated. Just helps get the algorithms. And the point, obviously, is get to that point where YouTube is sharing it more with non-members, which they already are. I think I had like 500 views on the on that other video that you guys helped out with, and it's showing up in the search results for things that people might think are interested about crypto. So that's very helpful, and I appreciate that. What else?
Looks like Bitcoin's pumping.
Go look. All right, so it's going to do what I really think it was going to do, which is come back up to retest that yellow line, and that yellow line is the overall upward trending resistance going all the way back from 2021, and we did get above it, and we came down and bounced. Oh no, I'm sorry, that yellow line is not that. That yellow line is the upward trending support from here. So we're coming back up to retest that right now. That's what I think is happening. But that is a strong support line that we broke through right here. So we broke through it here. We're coming back up to retest. Let me go to my coin M chart because I had it drawn differently. Let's just look at it here. Yeah. So we broke above this resistance, which was the previous support of the little bull flag. We broke back. We hit it as resistance right here. Right there. We just broke through it, and we broke through this red line, which was horizontal resistance going back all the way to here. We have resistance, support, 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 resistance, support, 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 support. We just broke back above that line and this line. So we're coming back into this. A little bit of a channel here, but I think that where it's going to end up hitting is right in here, right where these two lines meet. And it's either going to break back above it, which is what we really want if we want to get a new all-time high, if we want to get back up here to retesting all-time highs. But if it doesn't and it bounces there and starts to come back down, I would be given a short signal, probably right around here somewhere. Because that would be telling, because it did not, once we broke through this yellow line, this major support line, we never retested it yet. We dropped all the way down to here, Now we're coming back up to retest. So also when it does get up to retest, it will be creating a potential cup. Right? And so it's going to probably hit resistance and maybe even create a handle. That could be very bullish if that happens, to the tune of breaking back above that yellow line right about here and then pumping back up into the 120 range. That would be necessary for that to happen if we can get back through this yellow line. But the fact that it's a cup and handle that will be forming doesn't necessarily mean it will break to the upside, because that happens 70% of the time. And the 30% of the time that it doesn't is usually when we're up against major resistance. So this is major resistance now. It was resistance. I mean, it was major support, and it's coming back up to retest it. We also have this downward trending resistance line here. And it looks like it might be coming up and hitting both of these in the same area, creating a possible cup and handle that could break to the upside or fake everyone out. We're also at the top of the RSI here on the 1 hour, and we'll see. We'll see. We got a little bit of time before that gets all the way up to the top here. And just to give you a broader view, that's what I'm waiting for, guys. I think we need to see that happen first. If I go down to a much lower time frame, looks like a nice big rounded off cup coming up. And I would say that the top of that cup would be here, which would be right. Yep, we got major support, resistance, support, support. Somewhere up in here. Any other questions before we wrap it up? You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, guys, I got a 1:30 call that I'm running late to. They're probably on there waiting for me. Just stay tuned to the signals channel. If I see us break above that line, it's probably long. It's probably getting back into long position, because this was major support, this yellow line, for months now, and we just broke below it. So if we hit it as resistance, we could be coming back down for a lower low. But if we get back above it, then yeah, I'll be going long, and I'll be giving that signal in the group, and we'll probably have a take profit target somewhere up here in the 120, maybe even all the way back up to the 122 range. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Stay tuned in the chat. Make sure you get on onboarding if you're brand new. Welcome aboard, by the way, and we'll see you on the next call. See you in the chat.